Welcome to Kingston Stadium. The Prairie Hawks and the Kennedy Cougars open the season back on August the 28th. That game resulted in a 35-34 Kennedy victory in overtime. Tonight, it's round 3 of the playoffs, and they meet again. The Hawks have won 5 in a row. The Kennedy Cougars defeated Dubuque Senior last week to get to round 3. Should be a good one tonight. It's the Hawks and the Cougars. Playoff football on MC 22.
To Logan Wolf, captain, 7-play, 75. To A.J. Green, Marcus Orr doing nice against Cale O'Neill on the very next possession.
Welcome to Kingston Stadium. It's playoff football, a rematch from back in August. The Kennedy Cougars host the Prairie Hawks. Good evening and welcome. Rob Brooks along with Jerry Koala. And Jerry, one of the best games we saw this year. You go back to week 1 of the high school football season and an overtime victory for Kennedy. And here we are, the third week of the playoffs, and they meet again. And we talked that night that this would be a real possibility.
And that was a good way to kick off both of their seasons, because they knew coming into this season they'd have a pretty productive football team. Kennedy's rebounded a little bit, 3-4 record, and Prairie has won 5 games in a row, but both of these teams I think are on the peak level of play coming into this playoff game.
Prairie, after an 0-2 start, winners of 5 in a row, and a couple of 1,000-yard rushers we're going to talk about tonight for Prairie. Nick Pearson, what an outstanding season he has had, and the workhorse for this Prairie offense.
And if he can get it on a roll right away, Rob, he's going to be tough to bring down, but he's a 4-quarter type running back. Coach Bliss will work him into various ways of carrying the football with a couple of other players. So yeah, but he'll get the load of the carries tonight.
And for the Kennedy Cougars, we'll see a lot of Max White.
Well, we've seen a lot of Max White the last couple of years, and I think Kennedy's really going to feature him tonight. Again, per normal is what they do, but I think they need to do a better job of blocking for him, and if that's the case, he'll have himself quite a night tonight.
Should be a lot of fun. It's the Cougars and the Hawks coming up next. Playoff football on MC 22. High school football on Mediacom MC 22 is brought to you by McGrath Family of Dealerships, 5 Seasons Tire, the Tom Riley Law Firm, Collins Community Credit Union, Heartland Hearing Center, and by Extreme, powered by Mediacom. Welcome back to Kingston Stadium. Rob Brooks and Jerry Koala as we get set for round 3 of the high school football playoffs. Prairie and Kennedy. The Cougars have won the toss and elected to defer until the second half, so they will kick off, and it will be the Prairie Hawks with that potent offense with the football first. Jerry, let's take a look at the keys to the game. First off, for the visitors.
Well, it's going to be part of that potent offense. You're going to need a blended running game. What I'm talking about, we talked about Nick Pearson carrying most of the load tonight, but they've got 3 or 4 other people that they can use in that backfield. And then on the defensive side, they just got to deny Kennedy their running game.
And how about for the Cougars?
Well, Cedar Rapids Kennedy's got to come in and they've got to get Max going. They've got to mix it around Max. Prairie knows what he's going to be doing. He's going to be running the ball out, so they need to mix with him. And then they got to get quick ball recognition defense. In other words, they got to know where that ball's going and whose hands it is when Prairie has it on offense.
So here we go. Kick is away by Way. Taken at the 12. And a big hole up the middle for Elijah Ward. He's the big play guy, not only on offense, but also in the kick return game, and brings it all the way out to the 41-yard line.
And it's a playoff game, Rob, and everything really matters from here on out. They're next week is the quarterfinal, so they're one of the top 16 teams. These teams have come into this game to play the best that they can, execute as well as they can, and that includes on special teams, which what Eli did right there.
Brendan Vlecko will start at the quarterback position. We'll see Deontay Fliss a lot tonight, and nothing there for Pearson on the first play of the game. Drew Bartles, one of the leading tacklers for the Kennedy Cougars, on the stop as we take a look at the Prairie offense.
Well, we know that Nick Pearson's the go-to guy. Brendan Vlecko starting at quarterback, but they do a platoon system where they'll bring in a spread offense when Deontay Fliss will be the quarterback. But they've got a number of skills players that they can use, and that'll be the four-quarter game in which Mark Bliss puts together.
And do a good job to get a lot of those players to football. Here's Adam Longwell all the way out to the 46-yard line, and that's a typical play for the Prairie Hawks. They do as good a job as anybody around, Jerry, to use the talent that they have on the offensive side of the football as we take a look at the Kennedy defense and take a look at the linebackers, the hybrid position, some terrific tacklers.
They do. Drew Bartles is the leading tackler on this football team. Reed Packabeer in the middle has come along in his senior season at that middle linebacker.
And the direct snap to Pearson, and he is up the middle and has a chance to take it, slips one tackle and into the end zone just like that. Prairie strikes with a big play of 47 yards, and what has hampered Kennedy at times this year, missed tackles and giving up big plays.
Right at the line of scrimmage is where this really occurs, is in the direct snap to him. And as I talked about, Kennedy's got to find out who's got that football, who's it being snapped to, because it's not always snapped to the quarterback. And here's Nick as he just burst through that hole. They've worked on that execution style all week long, all season long. They've got 5-game winning streak going, and that's part of the reason is because they've been able to execute properly.
17th rushing touchdown of the year for Nick Pearson. Extra point is good. And just like that, Prairie, with that big play, potent offense, jumps out to a 7-0 lead.
You see that? The green jersey's just being bumped to either side, and he slid through that first wave of would-be tacklers, linebackers, and defensive linemen, and he was able to get out into the open field. And he's a tough kid to catch. He runs track, and he's a wrestler, so he's got all the tools for a multi-rounded athlete to play the game of football.
Averages 7.4 yards per carry this season. Well, it didn't do anything to destroy that average.
Well, he's got 2 carries here in that first possession and 49 yards, Rob. So they went 59 yards in 3 plays.
Approaching 1,100 yards rushing this season.
Well, he's the 5th leading rusher in Class 4A. And might add that Max White is the 4th leading rusher in Class 4A. So they're, the go-to guy on their offensive sets when it comes to running the football.
A.J. Walter will get set to kick off.
We saw Kennedy 2 weeks ago against Iowa City West. West did the very same thing to them. They scored on their opening play on a pass play.
And Kennedy just could not get on track in the first half of that game. Got way down. It's a short kick and fielded nicely by the Cougars, Luke Bradley. So didn't want to test Max White or Jalen Cotton deep. So good starting field position for Kennedy. Jerry, coming off, I thought, a very impressive win last week against Dubuque Senior, a good Dubuque Senior team at 28-17. And I think that gave the Cougars a lot of confidence coming into tonight's contest.
And that's what they need, is that confidence coming into this football game. But it's playoff season, Rob, and if you can't get up to play in the playoffs, then you probably shouldn't be wearing the jersey.
Little sweep action to Drew Bartles. And he is smothered. And then Baxter Bohr, one of the top tacklers for the Prairie defense. And on the stop, Bohr makes his 27th tackle of the year. Kennedy offense, we've talked a lot about the quarterback, Max White, and offensive line by Connor Colby has done a terrific job this year, big and strong and physical up front. And not many yards up the middle that time. And this is what the Kennedy Cougars like to do. run the football. That's the way they're built. But in the second half against Iowa City West a few weeks back, we did see the passing game open up, and they'll need that tonight as we take a look at the Prairie defense.
Well, McGuire Jones is in the middle. Leading tackler is Clayton Scott there, another linebacker. Moses Each, a great defensive end. Josue Ramirez, number 52, a nice defensive tackle. This defense shut down Davenport North a week ago, shutting them out in that game, holding them to almost minus yards total game.
And here's Max White, one of the best rushers ever to wear a Kennedy Cougar uniform. Already has 2 school records and is approaching a couple more. And that gets the ball to the 43-yard line and bring up second down and short.
Well, they're just going to run the football. It's not a secret at all, and they just are challenging their defense, Cedar Rapids Prairie, to come and stop us. And that's what they're going to do from here on out. Just a variety of Max White left and right, and now and then throw in a mix of another running back like
DeMarcus Ray gets some good downfield blocking and gets to the 20-yard line. A quick hitter as Nick Fetters makes the stop for the Prairie Hawks.
You'll see it. He just burst right up the middle, cuts to the left where the open field is. Prairie kind of overreacted defensively. Nick Fetters finally bringing him down. McGuire Jones getting there too.
22 yards, a big play for the Kennedy Cougars. Cougars' first possession of the ball game after Prairie took just 3 plays to score. And it's Ray up the middle. He's had a good season. Gets a little help and the ball comes out. And the official is going to rule that he was down. McGuire Jones in the mix for the Prairie Hawks. Let's take another look at this one.
This is right up the middle. Got a nice block. He still has the ball there. Is his forward progress stopped? Well, it is. Well, they're still pushing him forward, so I don't know that that's so much as his trying to move forward as opposed to I saw Josue Ramirez was pushing him forward.
Max White knifes forward, just didn't have anything at the line of scrimmage and made a nice little stutter step to make something out of which looked like not very much.
Keegan Hollerich in the stop in the middle. As you see Kennedy just getting a good lock on those defensive linemen. Staying low. And that's a huge Cedar Rapids Kennedy offensive line.
Yes, it is. Adam Longwell helped out defensively as well for the Prairie Hawks. Connor Colby, of course, heading to the University of Iowa. Ray tries to bounce it outside, but he is upended at the line of scrimmage. Clayton Scott just enough to bring him down.
Absolutely slowed him down, and then it tripped him up as well. Otherwise, that's some good blocking, and he would have been off to that right side, perhaps even getting into the end zone. Watch the right side there. He gets right outside there. You see the open lane, and Clayton Scott just gets a hand on that top of that foot, trips him up.
Colin Flanagan, the fullback. Nice block. Almost freed Ray. And then a chance to get into the end zone. White just takes off. Flanagan out there to block, and White, toughness, gets to the 5-yard line.
Just a quarterback sweep is all that was, Rob. They had blocking all along the right side and a wing back, and they just try to seal that end and give Max a chance to find some open running room to the outside. Watch him. He just takes off and runs. Behind that, the blocking back. Nice block on the strong safety coming up there, and Max picks up a few yards to the 5.
Max White, the all-time rushing touchdown leader in Kennedy Cougar history. And some terrific players. Play clock under 5. Here's the toss to Ray, and he is upended, but gets the ball across the goal line, and the Cougars answer with 6.
Well, they had a triple I formation there. That's what we saw them run a couple of years ago when they had the 2 and 3 running backs that they could use. And who's there in the front? Colin Cole leading the way. Look at him, knock people around. McGuire Jones. Colin Rickerson is able to upend Ray, but Ray was able to get the ball over the goal line.
6th touchdown of the year for DeMarcus Ray. Liam Way with the extra point, and it is good. He is 24 of 26 on the season.
So see it off to the left side. You see Colin Cole leading the way. You'll see McGuire Jones, well, you won't get to see him, but he comes rolling into the picture because he got blocked that way. Colin Reckerson does a nice job to fight off the block, but DeMarcus Ray able to get up over top of him, stretch out, get that ball across the plane of the goal line for the score.
And DeMarcus Ray has been a very good complement to Max White this year. He has over 500 yards rushing on the season at 88 on 25 carries. So he's carried a lot of the load too against Dubuque Senior last week.
And they need that. They need that complement to what Max White can do to be able to have a pretty formidable offense. If they were just relying totally on Max White, I'm not quite sure they'd been able to get it done as well as they have. And I think they learned a lot about themselves after the Iowa City West lost, how quickly they have to start, can't fall behind.
Head coach of the Cougars, Brian White.
He's done a nice job. They played for a couple of state titles a few years ago.
Approaching 50 victories.
One of our astute production people noticed that his record is 7 games more than Mark Bliss's record, and they've been coaching the same amount of time. And so it caught me off guard for the moment. I said, well, he's played in 2 state championships, which means when they get into the playoffs, they have those 3 to 4 extra games that they normally play.
And there is Mark Bliss.
Oklahoman, 7th season, PE teacher at Prairie. 4 state titles in his resume coming in here to Cedar Rapids Prairie.
And conference coach of the year.
That's right. This year there was, and Nick Pearson, of course, was a player of the year too. But he's got a steady offense going. Very demanding coach, as a lot of championship coaches are. Once you get to that level, once you get to the top, you realize how much effort you've put into it. And obviously staying there is even more difficult. But getting there, just getting there, all the work that you put in, all the simple little details, make a difference. And he's got a nice coaching staff. Jim Dostal, for one, that comes to mind. Ashton Northern is on that coaching staff. Some other former players. Lathan Bass is a former co-college offensive lineman who's on the coaching staff out there. On the sophomore level, Steve Bohr, who played at and he's helping them out a lot. So, Mark Bliss can read people to figure out how they can help his team along, even in the coaching staff.
Well, the same thing on the Kennedy side. You've got that longevity of coaches that have been around, worked together, and it just makes a huge difference with that continuity. Forsland out toward the 30, so not quite as good starting field position as the first possession for Prairie, but nonetheless, good spot to start. Both teams, Jerry, here in the first quarter, as we have a flag, our first flag of the ball game. But big plays spurred on those drives.
And you can see how much effort they put into this week of practice, knowing what was ahead of them in this game between these two teams. Not only do they know each other, and they played each other so many times, I think Kennedy's got a 2-game winning streak on them, winning the way they did in game number 1, and they did the very same thing a year ago. The chop block will take them back a little bit further into their own territory.
Be a 10-yard penalty back to the 20.
And the amount of effort that they put in the off-season. These are 2 very good, solid programs. They're not going to win a state title every year, but they're going to have fun playing the football game, win a few football games.
I don't mind you yelling
how to play
on the field, please.
Second possession of the quarter for the Prairie Hawks. And nothing there for Nick Fetters.
Fetters came from the right wing. Now they went to an unbalanced line to the right, Rob, which means they have a center, a left guard, and a tight end on the left side, and then they pull. And what happened, Julian Fierro, number 74, got tied up in the middle. He couldn't get out in front of Fetters. He was a blocker that was, that they were needing to give Fetters a lane to run through.
Dylan Davis, big hit on Fetters. Pickup of a 1. 2nd down and 9. Direct snap to Pearson. This one read much better as Jake Vandersanden makes his 39th tackle of the year.
Now, I was focusing in on Packabeer, who's number 33 for Cedar Rapids Kennedy. He's the right linebacker. He was influenced to the right. Who he was looking at, who he was keying on, and where his assignment was, took him way away from the play, so Kennedy was fortunate enough to be able to bring Nick down right up in the middle.
And this Prairie offense, Jerry, as you well know, just not easy for the opposition to prepare for, even though, as you mentioned, and it's true, both these teams know each other pretty well.
Know what they're going to do. Now here's a shift, a complete shift.
Lecko's still in there at quarterback and hands it off. And fumbling, but getting it back is Nick Fetters, who had a big game last week rushing the football, just carried it 4 times for 116 yards against Davenport North.
Watch the defensive end on the left side here. He just reads it beautifully, comes right down on top of Fetters. Boom. Right there, because that's a play that they're used to scoring on.
Avery Garrett. And that'll force Prairie to punt on 4th and 6.
Watch the ball!
Sam Brassic. It's a good kick away, and making a tough catch is Luke Bradley. 31 yards on the punt, and second possession of the quarter for the Kennedy Cougars. A much better defensive stand that time versus when Prairie scored its first touchdown. 4:21 left to go in the first quarter. We're tied at 7. First and 10 for the Kennedy Cougars. Max White working out of the shotgun. And he'll go right up the middle and pick up 8 before he is tossed to the ground. Maybe one more than that.
What's happening is they went to a triple formation to the left, Rob, and that makes that defense spread out. It makes those defensive linemen spread a little bit. Those linebackers got to drop a step and spread out. It opens up some space for Max to run through. He picks up 9.
That's good news for the Kennedy rushing attack. Both White and Ray have been able to break free. White again calls his own number just to make sure he gets the first down, which he does. Snap for Prairie Hawks by Ramirez.
I would say Osway coming right there in the middle of that screen. Baxter War coming from the backside too. I mean, it's a battle in there with those defensive linemen and those offensive linemen for the size that they are and the strength that each of those people have. It's, you know, it's the matter of inertia. You know, if you can get going and not get bumped off a course, you're going to have some success in there.
First and 10. Cougars keep it on the ground and pound out for a few more. That is DeMarcus Ray.
I hate to think that Kennedy's going to become predictable here, because when they line up under center in an I backfield, they're going to hand that ball off to DeMarcus Ray. Now, you know, they'll run the football all night long if need be, as long as they're moving it forward. You don't want to become too predictable in the formation that they align in.
Here you see Jamison Bean, senior at 6'5", 290. Connor Colby goes at 6'6", 315, whereas number 77. White will take off, makes a move, and another. Hangs on to the football and slices inside the 20-yard line.
Nice job of wiggle away from McGuire Jones, who had a beat on him at an angle, and Max was able to sidestep him. Watch him as he goes off to the right side. It's a pass play. You know, Max isn't going to sit back there very long because he wants to run. Watch him slide right by McGuire Jones right there. Pick up about 6 or 7, 8, maybe 10 more yards.
Adam Longwell brought him down at the 20-yard line.
It's interesting how good an open field runner Max White really is once he gets out there.
And tough to bring down. Not shy away from contact. Takes off right up the middle and almost broke it. Nick Fetters able to drag him down, but good momentum on this drive. And Max White is doing much of the damage.
They're getting a nice push off that offensive line. Look at that, pushing those white jerseys back. And Max just following right along there. If he can get through there 5 or 6 yards and not have to take hits at the line of scrimmage or a yard deep in the line of scrimmage, it's less punishment to his body.
Well, he's absorbed a few hits this year.
And he's delivered a few blows too. So he's a solid rock quarterback.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And throws it across the middle, and it is caught for a Cougar touchdown.
Reed Packabeer.
Reed Packabeer, the tight end at 6'3", 210, got open in the back of the end zone.
Just slid into a post pattern, runs right by the cornerback and the free safety. You know, it's very difficult as a defensive back because you have to watch what the quarterback's doing and the receiver at the same time, and to try to cover both, because you don't want that quarterback to get across the line of scrimmage and have to be able to run freely. So, you know, I think the benefit belongs to the offense there, being able to score as quickly as they did.
Liam Way adds the extra point, and watch this pinpoint pass by Max White.
Right across, it was a nice over the top of the defenders, but Packabeer runs a good pattern, doesn't overrun the pattern to the back of the end zone, because you'll see how close he is back there, 7 yards deep. Max delivers a really nice ball.
Packabeer just his 5th reception of the season. First touchdown, and Max White throws his 4th touchdown of the year.
Well, this is kind of a reversal of what we saw in the first game of the season, when Kennedy had 3 turnovers in that first half, and 2 of them led to touchdowns, and Prairie would score on a pass play on their own possession to take a 20-7 lead at halftime. But that third quarter came out, Kennedy with a couple of quick scores took the lead, changed the whole landscape of that game, made a more terrific game out of it. And now Kennedy has taken the momentum here in this early part of this football game.
14 straight points. Ward back deep for the Prairie Hawks. Terrific crowd on hand here tonight. Social distancing crowd, so limited numbers, but every ticket that was available was gobbled up.
That's what I heard earlier this week. I think there was maybe a couple thousand at best, maybe 1,000, not quite sure. But to each side got the equivalent amount, and yeah, they snatched them up quickly. Student body, man, they love to follow their football teams. You know, we've been out to Prairie a few times, and obviously we've been to Kingston quite a few, and we've seen the student bodies really get energetic.
Especially this time of year. Direct snap to Longwell. And we have a flag, as the tackle was made by Avery Garrett, holding Prairie.
Kennedy's getting a nice push. Now they play a 3-5 defense. 3 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers. And then they have 2 players that are called hybrids that play on the outside. They play both a defensive end and a linebacker. And on the snap of the ball, the defensive linemen have a way to go, the alley to go, and the linebackers fill the other gap. So there's 7, 8 players at that line of scrimmage.
Prairie backed up, its own end zone, and the pass is incomplete. Intended for Forsland. Deontay Fliss now in there at quarterback.
So they've gone to the spread offense, which brings out more receivers. Elijah Ward is one of them. They got even Brendan Vlecko, who started at quarterback and is in the running system, is out in the cluster out on the left side.
And Fliss will take it himself up the middle, and he is greeted by Ochiltree.
Well, it's a short gain, but nevertheless, he got some positive yardage out of this. Deontay does a nice job to pull it down, realizing there wasn't any receivers to throw to.
To give you an idea, Fliss has thrown 96 passes, Vlecko 15. So this is the guy they rely on more in the passing game. And this is incomplete at the 25, in and out of the hands of Elijah Ward.
When you get that pass in those hands, you got to bring it in. Deontay, you know, sometimes receivers don't realize what kind of duress that the quarterbacks are under. That was a nice ball on the direct timing route. And Elijah's just not able to haul that baby in. Get those hands on it, grip it, pull it in. He would have been able to move the chains on that if he makes that reception.
So another punting situation for Prairie. Holding penalty really backed them up. Messick gets it away. Another nice kick. Fair caught by Luke Bradley. 37-yard punt. And good starting position for an offense for the Cougars that you really feel have some good rhythm, good momentum, feel good about the running game, and then able to start to mix in some pass plays.
They really do. They've got the momentum their way. They pretty much owned this first quarter, other than that first touchdown that Prairie scored on the long run. Kennedy's settled in, had a couple of good offensive possessions.
And White this time will have the left side. Good blocking again, stays on his feet and gets inside the 30-yard line. Dwyer Jones got him out of bounds, but some huge holes for Max White showed good patience.
And he did. He showed very good patience. Let the opening get there. And he runs around Ramirez. He's got good speed, and he's pretty strong to get to the outside. Picks up some good yardage.
24 yards. Ray sidesteps his way for a couple to the 26-yard line. Caden Striegel on the stop for Prairie, and that's going to do it for the first quarter of football. Fireworks on both sides. Kennedy up 14-7. On the move again. We'll be back. Oh, he talked about the outstanding crowd. People are ready to get inside before the gates even opened up. And I feel like, Jerry, the Cougars student body, fans and friends, like what they see so far.
Absolutely. You got to be very happy with what they've seen. But this is a one-game season. You can only focus on this particular game, and no question that both of these coaching staffs have gotten the attention of these players coming into this football game. This is the only thing that matters. Take care of next week after you win tonight. You know, one team's going to turn in gear tomorrow, and one team's going to be able to celebrate for a little while, then prepare for their next round, which would be the quarterfinals of Class 4A.
Visiting fans sitting in the East Stadium bleachers.
But you know, it's interesting. Here we're at the last week of October. This would be the second week of the playoffs anyway. Whatever the first week anyway, if it was a regular season, you know, if we didn't have to go through all of the
with everybody in, right? This would be the first round.
That's right. So they've made it this far,
and only 16 teams would get in. Yeah, expanded it for a few years. Interesting to see what happens next year. And movement. And this will be 5 against the Cougars.
They've been very perfect up until that point right there.
C.J. Coker, wide receiver, comes into the game for Kennedy. wide to the left. Screen. Max White up the middle. Backs his way to the 25.
So it makes back 6 of the 5 they lost on the illegal procedure. Look at that opening right there in the middle. Following Flanagan, the blocking back for him. There's no hidden secret what Kennedy's going to do here. Most of the time it's going to be Max off tackle right or left on the sweep, and then when DeMarcus Ray is in there, you got to pay attention to him because of his ability to run the football.
Adam Longwell on the stop. Max White, of course, a first-team conference player. And he'll dig out another 4 yards.
Max White, the ball carrier, stopped by number 55.
Isaiah Harrison
on
the tackle.
4th down.
You're getting a nice push off that offensive line. You give Max a little bit of daylight, and he's going to pick up a few yards, and then now and then he's going to break a big one. Kennedy doing a good job of controlling the line of scrimmage. When they do that, the rushing attack is productive, and they eat up clock.
Now Prairie jumped.
Dead ball, offside, defense, result of the play, 1st down.
Good discipline by Kennedy to stay set, use that non-rhythmic cadence that Max used to probably draw that defensive line offside.
So inside the 20, ball at the 18. White follows his blockers. Yards after contact.
Stopped by number
Longwell.
52, Josu Ramirez.
Ramirez on the stop for Prairie.
Talk about a kid that just loves to play the game. That number 5 there, the green jersey. Watch this. He's just going to mix it up.
2nd down 5.
You're going to hit me, I'm going to hit you back.
On the Prairie 13-yard line.
I'm going to keep driving forward. I mean, your coaches would like to have 11 players, 10 other players just like him.
It was a preferred walk-on opportunity at Iowa and Nebraska. Missouri has been in contact. After the fake, he will keep it. Max White digs to the 5.
Max White, the ball carrier, stopped by number 25.
Getting a nice push off the middle.
Johnson.
Looking like defensive tackles are shading out to the outside. Look how big that hole is right there. No middle linebacker who's deep and probably influenced to one direction or another, depending on the alignment of Kennedy's offense, and he gets knocked out of there by a tight end. It's just things are running perfectly for Cedar Rapids Kennedy at the moment.
Johnson stop for Prairie. White will try the right side. A couple of blockers in front, but this is eaten up nicely by the Prairie Hawks. Prairie player a little bit slow to get up.
It's a timeout on the field.
That is Adam Longwell.
It doesn't look good. He's very effective both defensively and offensively, the linebacker. Clayton Scott did a nice job. Watch Clayton come in there, right there. Penetrated nicely. Adam Longwell doing the same thing as well, penetrating and getting a shoulder pad into Max. He's fighting off a block.
Fans, thank you for attending tonight's football game. This is a reminder that
here comes the tackle on Max White.
So he got his head knocked back a little bit.
And he was holding his left collarbone, I could see. Never really a good sign. He must have jammed his neck into that left side of his shoulder area. It's good to see him get up and walk.
Yes, it is.
Thank you for doing your part to make tonight's event safe for all fans.
So Prairie did a good job of not allowing any further yardage, forward progress on that play. We'll see if Kennedy doesn't use the wide side of the field here. Triple I formation. Colin Cole in there leading the way, Rob.
Gets a block. Ray into the end zone. Untouched.
Marcus Ray, the ball carrier.
Marcus Ray, his second touchdown. Connor Colby
For the penalty flag on the play.
with that lead block in the backfield, and there is a late flag.
There'll be some kind of taunting action by Kennedy after the play was over.
Well, Marcus Ray knows the Prairie team pretty well.
Yeah, I spent some time there with these Prairie Hawks as well. Came to Kennedy a year ago. But again, he's just a good compliment. You need that.
He's had a terrific season.
To Max White.
Because they're really excited about Jason Williams, too. A sophomore running back.
Well, Kennedy's never, ever lacked talent, Rob. We've been doing this long enough to see every year that they got big people.
Some very good teams.
And skills people.
Touchdown's good. After the play, dead ball personal foul against White. Will go half the distance to the goal. Unsportsmanlike conduct, green. That'll be enforced 15 yards, extra point try.
So something happened at the end of the play, and then after the play was over. So we'll see DeMarcus getting into the end zone right here. Oh, it's McGuire Jones.
A late hit.
Yep. And so then here's the unsportsmanlike against DeMarcus Ray. I mean, you know, the adrenaline's flowing out there. You know, it's just part of the competition. It's football. You know, the battle of contact goes.
This is going to test Liam Way here. A 34-yard extra point. And not a problem.
Well, we can see who's got the momentum going now. 3 possessions for Kennedy, 3 touchdowns for Cedar Rapids Kennedy.
But another flag.
Extra point is good. Running into the kicker, defense. That penalty will be awarded on the kickoff, 5 yards.
8 plays, 52 yards for the Cougars, now up 21-7.
And every play, Rob, was a running play. See it right here as I guess he caught him a little bit. Caught that lead leg. And I think maybe the penalty was for more of anything, just the principle of the idea that, listen, we're not going to allow any extracurriculars, and it's good that they get it taken care of now, get these teams to settle in and just play the game. Look at that lead eye, strong eye backfield, and DeMarcus Ray just looking for the open area. He gets 3 yards into the end zone, and McGuire Jones will give him a little love tap in there and pick up a 15-yard penalty or a late hit penalty.
Well, 77, Connor Colby, Iowa recruit, with the lead block.
Why would you not put him in there, Rob, in that situation?
That's why they do.
You know, it's just, you got to take advantage of it. And
Certainly makes some good sense, huh?
Absolutely. I think, you mentioned something, about the win over Dubuque Senior last week and the confidence that this team has gained. I think they've been gaining. Even after that Iowa City West game, I think they decided that, they weren't going to settle for games like that because, they had scored a couple touchdowns in the second half of that Iowa City West loss. But they got down so deep in that first half, they just couldn't get back into the game.
But did some good things offensively. Obviously, turn the page. Good special teams played by the Cougars. They're fired up. This is They got a little extra gear here in the first half.
They really do. You know, and it didn't hurt any that it was Cedar Rapids Prairie coming in to play them, but it's playoff time, and you know they want to extend this season. We know we've seen Kennedy the years that they went into the state title for Class 4A. They didn't start as strong as they could have, but we've seen them start 0-4 in years and come out and be able to play in the playoffs.
They typically under Brian White have played their best football this time of the season. Lecco back in there at quarterback. Gives to Pearson. He called his name for a while, and he just about broke it all the way, but does get out close to the 40-yard line.
Yeah, if it's not for Reed Packenbeer to come up from behind him and get a hold of him, I'm thinking Nick's probably still running a direct snap to him. This is what Kennedy has got to start reading. There's some nice blocking, and he's able to cut back, find the holes from left to right, get through that offensive line, move forward.
Packenbeer now with 45 tackles this year. So again on the direct snap, this is a play that's going to work again. And we talk about Max White being tough to bring down. Also is the leading ground gainer for the Prairie Hawks.
Well, 2 plays they've gotten into Kennedy territory. They just come back and just play their steady game. It's a 4-quarter game. And the direct snap to him, he turns to his route like he's going to hand off to the wing back. And in the meantime, the linebackers for Kennedy have to watch that play, have to watch the scheme, and then they start getting blocked.
Stop. He's got 10.5 tackles for loss this season. And they'll pound away with Pearson once again, and he gets to the 31.
So 3 plays and 53 yards for Cedar Rapids Prairie, or Nick Pearson, if you will.
Nice answer for the Prairie offense.
But they're still down 2 scores, so I mean they need to get the shift the momentum back their way a little bit.
Lecco with the keeper. And nothing there. Nice read by the Kennedy defense. Jake Vandersanden.
Just all that misdirection play going, but Kennedy does a nice job not to go with it. Some players have to go with the misdirection, and some players have to spy some of that talent, the skills people.
Direct snap to Pearson. Only brought down by Avery Garrett, defensive end.
Well, it's really hard to say whether Kennedy has, or Cedar Rapids Prairie has figured this out right now, but they're just running plays. They see that they're down 2 scores. They got to get back into this, so maybe it's giving them a little bit of spark.
All 336 yards on the ground against Davenport North last week. Much there for Nick Fetters.
I think Kennedy sees that, how that's going to work out that way, because they've seen that play, that formation when they set that up. When Fetters is out there on that wing, they know that he's probably going to come back at him in an inside counter play, which he did right there. Kennedy, you see the green jerseys filling those gaps and then making the stop. Linebacker. Cuck. Mr. Cuck. Alex Cuck. Go, D! Come on! Ready?
Lecco to the end zone. How about that answer for the Prairie Hawks? A 22-yard touchdown run.
Well, they don't let you celebrate very long, do they? Come right back with a direct snap to him, and Kennedy probably was playing that Pearson was going to get the direct snap to him. That's what that offense will do for Cedar Rapids Prairie if they run it right and effectively.
83-27.
O.J. Walter puts it right through, and the Prairie Hawks pull to within 7. But if you're Prairie, this is exactly what you wanted to do, as the Cougars had all the momentum.
Yep, they didn't have very good ball recognition on that play. I'm sure they were keying on Pearson, and if you saw what Nick did when that ball was snapped, he waited for the ball to go in front of him to Vlecko, and he cut in front of Vlecko going to his left, so it draws those linebackers. He had his hands up like he was going to catch the ball. I mean, you know, that's just precision execution. You just, those things just don't happen. You know, you got to run the play to almost complete perfection to be able to have it work.
Seven plays, 84 yards, very effective. All on the ground.
Every one of them was on the ground. And Nick Pearson, 4 of those carries for 61 of the 84 yards. Brandon Vlecko got 22, and this again, Vlecko, he had another carry for 1 yard in there, and then Fetters had a carry for no yards. What a game we're seeing so far.
That was 35-34 in overtime, week 1. Walter. And whistles blow the play dead.
I think Prairie's going to be offside. In legal procedure, somebody either moved too soon or got across the line of gain where the ball is teed.
5-yard penalty, re-kick.
And so far, Prairie hasn't kicked the ball deep to Cotton or Max White.
Well, I think if they're smart, they won't. I think that first kickoff that we saw in the first quarter after they scored, a little pooch kick, keep it away from them. Can make things happen.
Cougars come up and field it, and that is Cotton. Boy, good hands. That's not an easy play to make. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Kennedy Cougars. So let's see if they can answer a very good drive by the Prairie Hawks.
And maybe if Cedar Rapids Prairie's defense had a chance to get off the field for a while.
First down, Cougars on their own 37-yard line.
And just have a little conversation, you know, within themselves, get their defense, their coaches, you know, telling them about tendencies that Kennedy's doing.
Then you see the Cougars defense on the sideline, huddled around the television. Watching that drive. White skips through the line of scrimmage and much more as he gets into Prairie Hawk territory.
Off the left side. They're just getting some good blocks, locking on and pushing the defender where he wants to go. Max is able to, you know, squeeze in between. Watch on the left side, top of your screen. There's a nice seal block on Moses Eats, the defensive end. That's the key, is to keep him from having his contain assignment. And Max is able to use the speed to get through there.
Picked up of 15. Ray, big hole up the middle. Bounces off a couple of tacklers. Pick up of 10, very close to moving the chains. And there it is.
Short. No, I gotta give him 10. So this time off the right side, Max under center. Great block by the pulling of guard. That ball bobbled out of his hand, but he was able to secure it.
Ramirez, another tackle. Cougars coming right back, and this should go against Prairie.
A little bit anxious in there, inside, listening to things that they shouldn't listen for. You got to watch that football. It's the only thing that those defensive linemen need to pay attention to, is when that ball moves, that's when they move.
Which they all know, but sometimes just get a little over-anxious. Approaching 5 minutes left to go. Entertaining first half of football. White fumbles the snap. And now he's just going to take off. Sometimes these plays work out very well. And to the 27-yard line.
He makes them work. There's a pass play all the way. I think he was going to look off that left side, look for a receiver running down that left sideline.
First down, Cougars.
A low snap off his feet, and it rolled a little bit. He's able to pick it up. Look at the time he has to throw, so he just turns it into a running play. When he tucks it and run, he's going to make things happen.
Maguire-Jones on the stop for Prairie. And another first down for surging Kennedy Cougar offense. Here's Ray off the left side. He spins to the 20. Nick Fetters with the stop.
Those guys, those offensive linemen like to pull out of there, lead that running back through. They work on that so much, just right down the line of scrimmage. And once you get to the hole where it's supposed to be going, let's say the 3 or the 5 hole that time, you cut up and you look for any odd jersey to block.
Ray again, and this time he is stood up by Clayton Scott at the line of scrimmage. So that'll bring up a rare third down.
35, Clayton Scott.
See right up the middle, Prairie doing a nice job of bunch in the middle. Baxter Board there, number 15 for 1, and then Clayton Scott, as you mentioned.
So 3rd and 2. White has it, and a few more as he bolts inside the 15. Clayton Scott again there for Prairie.
You go to your yardage guy. Nice block. Boy, that was a terrific play from left to right. Kelso, the pulling left guard. Oh my God, he just buried the defensive tackle for Cedar Rapids Prairie.
That offensive line's done a terrific job for the Cougars.
Come on, Isaiah. Come on.
It's a strength for sure. This is blow the play dead.
Dead ball. Ball start. Offense. Still first down.
That'll push the Cougars back 5.
Well, again, just a rare miscue. Practicing all week long, focusing on this game. This is our game plan. Come and stop us.
Now remember, the Cougars did have an interruption to this regular season.
In a couple of weeks, I think, did they? With the COVID.
White pulls off his speed, gets the first down, and a flag comes out as he gets very close to the goal line.
I'm afraid we're going to have a hold out there on the outside. You know, the receivers are downfield throwing blocks, locking onto receivers. Must have been a pretty blatant thing to have happen for that official to throw, because I don't think normally that they would throw something.
Offense.
That's too bad. That was a terrific play.
First down.
And White showed good speed. And he gets those shoulder pads turned upfield. Does a good job turning that corner.
But here's the deal: he's gonna get 16 yards on the play as a run, and then there's going to be a holding penalty. It'll take it back 10, so it's still going to be first down. And now 1st and 9 at 14.
Right over 1,100 yards rushing this year. Back to Ray. He carries a couple of white jerseys with him to the 5.
Marcus Ray, the ball carrier. Stopped by number 55, Isaiah Harrison.
That's just right up the middle. Again, here comes Kelso knocking out Clayton Scott, the linebacker. I mean, Kennedy's really done a nice job of isolating on the players that they need to block. Clayton Scott, the leading tackler, you got to block him. You know, Maguire-Jones, also a linebacker in that middle. And then you just bump block those defensive linemen and let the running backs, you know, or Max White get through there as quickly as possible, get into that second level.
Harrison on the stop for Prairie. And we've got a Prairie Hawks timeout with 1:48 left to go in the first half. 21-14 Cougars. But Kennedy has the ball on Prairie's 5-yard line. We'll be back. Well, as we know, the fans and the students come out for the Prairie Hawks, urging on their defense.
They're going to need all that encouragement right here.
Right under center. And they give up the middle to Colin Flanagan, the fullback, with a rare carry. He's delivered some fine blocks in the first half of this one.
Flanagan, the ball carrier.
Watch Colby right up there. Number 77 coming right up the middle. You know, he takes an outside release. If he takes an inside release, he might be able to block Clayton Scott, who made that tackle.
Come on, fellas.
You got to go inside out, straight ahead and out, not an outside release and in, because that linebacker is going to scrape right by you.
But the good thing is for the Cougars, that's now 1st and goal. Play clock was running down, so the Cougars alertly took a timeout. That's just their first. Third round of the playoffs, 21-14 in favor of the Cougars. And the Iowa High School Athletic Association would like to take this opportunity to remind you that sportsmanship starts with you. Good sportsmanship means showing respect to student athletes, coaches, officials, schools, and all those around you in the stands. Good sportsmanship shows character, accountability, and sets a positive example on and off the field. The Iowa High School Athletic Association thanks you for being a good sport for tonight's game.
Thank you for your flexibility.
Max White already over 100 yards rushing on the night.
And now Connor Colby with a carry.
Oh, you'd love to see the big boy get out there and run it.
Number 77,
Come back and run it again.
Colby, the ball carrier. Stopped by number 35.
Golly, they're going to get him back there to make a block, a chance to run with it too. I mean, think about all the people it's going to take to get him down.
Well, Nick Fetters did a good job to knife in there, make the first hit.
Ever seen calf roping in the rodeo? It's the exact same thing right there.
This time Ray. He's going to be down at the 1-yard line. His knee touched before he reached that ball across the goal line. And with 19 seconds left, the Cougars take timeout.
See Colin Colby out there again, taking out the defensive end. Yeah, DeMarcus Ray's knee was down long before the ball stretched across the goal line. Kennedy really having some great success on the offensive side of the football tonight. Taking care of the football, picking up yardage.
This is usually Max White time inside the 5-yard line. Kennedy's all-time career leader, rushing touchdowns.
Officially, I got him for 18 carries and 146 yards.
Well, that would move him into second all-time in the rushing department. Pass Tyler Drolley, outstanding running back for the Cougars. Came into tonight needing over 200 yards. J.C. Steinberg back in 1997. A big pile moved forward, and that is a touchdown for the Cougars.
Well, direct snap to Max, and he just follows Colin Colby right through the middle. And a big push. Watch Colby get right up there with him. Max was playing a short quarterback position at that point.
So Connor Colby at 6'6", 315. Pretty prominent inside the 10-yard line. Liam Way stays perfect. He's only missed 2 extra points the entire season. And the Cougars get a very important touchdown with just 14 seconds left to go in the first half.
And they brought back the momentum to their side after Cedar Rapids Prairie had scored its touchdown.
And remember that Kennedy will get the football to start the third quarter after winning the toss and deferring to the second half.
So that's an 11-play drive that started back on their 37-yard line. Again, Max White supplying all of the, not all of it. I mean, he can't do anything about that offensive line, but as far as moving the football downfield, it's what he's done.
So he's rushed for 1 and thrown for 1 tonight. It's his 16th rushing touchdown of the year. Ray elects to kick it deep. Taking it at the 10. Forsland on the move. Gets out to the 27-yard line. But just 7 seconds left to go.
Yeah, I don't see Prairie doing anything but getting the snap and kneeling down on it. Let the clock run out. Go in and regroup at halftime. This has been an excellent first half for Cedar Rapids Kennedy.
And pass is incomplete. Listen there at quarterback.
Things just aren't clicking for Prairie here right now. That ball was well underthrown by Deontay. Elijah Ward, the intended receiver out there on the outside. You know, Kennedy's not going to let anything deep. They'll give up all the underside yardage they want.
Brady Lovell 30 yards deep. Long pass play, and it is caught by Ward inside the 40, but that's going to do it. Good yardage, but that'll do it. 34 yards on the reception. Ward's first tonight. But both teams will head to their respective locker rooms. 28-14 in favor of the Kennedy Cougars. At the half from Kingston Stadium, it's the Kennedy Cougars 28 and the Prairie Hawks 14. We'll take a look at the stats here in just a couple of minutes. But first off, Jerry Koala, how about a look at several first half highlights?
Absolutely. There's some really good highlights that we're going to show. They're going to be all touchdowns because both of these teams really have been very efficient tonight. Here's the first one from Cedar Rapids Prairie as Nick Pearson, the MVC Divisional Player of the Year, on a 47-yard touchdown run. But Kennedy, Cedar Rapids Kennedy, comes right back on a possession of their own of 9 plays, 62 yards. It ends in this 5-yard touchdown run by DeMarcus Ray. Kennedy then would come right back in a rare touchdown pass from Max White to Reed Packabeer back in the end zone. It gives Kennedy the lead of 14-7. They extended it here on the second touchdown run, another 5-yard touchdown run by DeMarcus Ray to make it 21-7. And then Prairie would just come right back down the field, and Brandon Vlecko would end up with a 22-yard touchdown run to bring it to 21-14. But Cedar Rapids Kennedy wasn't done. They drove down the field and they scored on a 1-yard touchdown run by Max White. That an 11-play, 63-yard possession. And really, that first half belonged to Cedar Rapids Kennedy. They did almost everything right, scoring almost every possession.
Well, and look at the rushing total, 234 yards out of 246 total yards. And look at the time of possession, 16-13 versus 7:47. Now, Prairie did have a quick strike first touchdown on their first possession, and 13 first downs and just 5 for the Prairie Hawks. So Kennedy, there's part of the reason why they're up 14 as the Cougars come back on the turf here at Kingston, and will have the football first to start the third quarter. We'll be back.
My hands are still cold, but I'm about to put these in my shoes. Oh, okay. My feet are, I didn't layer up on these sides.
Couple minutes away from the start of the third quarter, 28-14. I think some premature Halloween costumes, Jerry.
Even a day in advance. Halloween being tomorrow. But you know, they come up with some really creative ideas, don't they? And trying to come up with those costumes that they wear for. And unfortunately, they won't be able to go to any Halloween get-togethers, gatherings to be able to enjoy it. But they can sure come here to the football game tonight, the night before Halloween, and enjoy the game as it is, and dressed in their greatest thought-out costume. What was your favorite costume?
Boy.
Do you recall? Are you in costume tonight?
I have to think about that. Well, you might say I am, yeah.
Dressed up as a broadcaster.
Maybe the Riddler. One time I was the Riddler.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting. Did you put on the same act as the Riddler, though? Did you do all the same
not.
laughing giggle that he had?
Yeah, that was tough. Frank Gorsham,
yes,
the original Riddler.
Remember him well. Must have been a Batman fan at the time, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Still are.
Anytime it's on, I'll watch it for a little while.
I tune into Star Trek.
The original one.
Yeah, that was such a novel idea. Caped Crusader.
So can the Prairie Hawks get back in this football game?
They're going to have to shut out Kennedy here in the second half to do it. Would be about the best guess. I think that's what Mark Bliss is telling his team at halftime. And he says, fellas, that Kennedy team has played their best football of the year. In that first half there, we've got to come out and play our best football of the year. In the second half here, shut them down, score some, they need 2 touchdowns for sure. Cedar Rapids Kennedy side, just continue to do what they're doing. But stay with that intensity. They can't lose any of that intensity. And allow Prairie to get back into this football game.
Well, and how good has this Prairie defense been, especially with the 5-game win streak? The most points Prairie gave up was 21. 21 to Cedar Falls and Washington. Both of those games Prairie won handily. The only 2 times they've given up more than 21, both games against Kennedy. 35 in overtime to start the season and 28 here in the first half. So,
well, I think Prairie's best defense has been their offense most of the season, although I saw them play against Davenport North last week, and and I keyed that they needed to shut out Davenport North, and they did just that. They shut them down. This is a better Cedar Rapids Kennedy team, so they're going to have to really come out and dig in deep and try to stop this running attack.
Well, that Prairie defense will be tested at the start of the third quarter. Another short kick by Walter. And on the move is Luke Bradley. He's done a good job fielding those kickoffs and sets up the Cougars. 1st and 10, pretty good field position again. 37-yard line.
Seemed like anywhere on the field is good field position for the Cedar Rapids Kennedy offense. Rob, as we look at that first half, they scored on all 4 possessions they had the ball. 2 DeMarcus Ray runs, a touchdown pass to Reed Packabeer, and then Max White finished off that second half. I mean, that's precision, great execution in that first half.
Very few third downs. Just big plays on 1st and 2nd down. 13 first downs in the first half. And White, back where he started, and more. Inside the 20-yard line. What a start for the Cougars. The first play from scrimmage in the third quarter.
Pushed out of bounds by number 30, Nick Fetter.
Right off the left side, he hesitated, let it get set up, got a block to the outside. No fill there for Cedar Rapids Prairie, and they're chasing Max White down that left sideline.
Fetters pushed him out of bounds after a 45-yard pickup. And now Max White is approaching close to 200 yards rushing. Looking for more. Delivers a blow at the 11.
Well, just prior to that carry there on that play, 20 carries for 193 yards. Add 8 more to it, he's over 200 yards.
Mason Mahoney came in to get him out of bounds. White again looked like he had a big hole, but it closed quickly. A good stop by the Prairie Hawks.
Jose Ramirez, defensive tackle position closed.
McGuire Jones in there as well.
You see, like I say, it's open right there, and then it just closes. Yeah, McGuire nosed in underneath there, as did Clayton Scott. They know who they have to stop, Rob, so that's the big challenge on every play.
Ray hit behind the line of scrimmage by Clayton Scott.
He penetrated nicely off that left side of that defensive line.
That's exactly what the Prairie defense needed. A couple of big stops to bring up 4th down.
35 stepping right in there. Nobody blocking him. He throws DeMarcus Ray for a loss.
Cougars appear to be going for it. Need 3. White up the middle. And looks like he's going to be a little short, but it will depend on the spot.
And from the near side official, his spot versus the far side official. And it was very close, and I can see the Prairie coaching staff at least wanting to get a measurement. But it looks like he got far enough where the measurement isn't going to be necessary. Just inside the 9, he had to get to the 9.
So a huge 4th down to keep this drive alive for the Kennedy Cougars. Ray. He's tackled from behind. Penetration again by Clayton Scott.
He's getting into those gaps, isn't he? He's seeing where that ball's being handed off. You see Scott coming right up the middle. You see him on top of your screen. Just getting to the around those offensive linemen, the legs of DeMarcus Ray. Prairie needs to have a big stop right here in this whole possession.
They made some good plays on defense. There's got a key 4th down stop. White. And he'll get inside the 5-yard line.
Max White, the ball carrier, stop for number 12, Adam Longwell.
Longwell with the tackle. Good to see him back in the football game.
Off that left side. Just pushing forward, and once he finds a little bit of seam, he's bursting through it.
Taking time. Clock inside of 10. And White untouched into the end zone. Max White, touchdown Cougars.
They've just taken command of this game. Now, that was their conversation at halftime. In my mind, is we need to keep up the effort, take care of the game, finish.
And how about that blocking out there on the right side?
It doesn't get touched at all, 5 yards out for the score.
Couldn't draw it up much better than that to start the 3rd quarter. As Way punches through the extra point, and the Cougars go up 35-14.
Just a quarterback sweep to the right. They've done it dozens, if not hundreds of times before. Well, Max has gotten to be a better runner even the last couple of games. And again, we go back to that Iowa City West game. I think that second half, they just stepped it up. So they were tired of having the same result, the way it is. Committing mistakes, having breakdowns. They haven't had any breakdowns tonight. 2 illegal procedure penalties on possessions, and that's been about it.
Got to be time for maybe a sit down for a second. And a busy guy tonight.
I think he'd like to be on the kickoff team, making tackles downfield. He'd be on every team, every time, every snap. I got him for 26 carries and 215 yards.
They were early in the 3rd quarter. Wade kicks it deep. On the move is Forsland. It's out past the 30. A little bit of extra pushing and shoving. The officials will break that up. This is a big offensive possession here for Prairie.
It
just figured have any chance in this game, need to put some points on the board.
Yeah, the way Kennedy's playing, Prairie has to quickly get that ball into the end zone, even well before the end of this 3rd quarter, because they're not going to have a lot of 4th quarter to play with.
Direct snap to Pearson.
Come on, wrap up.
The passing game hasn't been beneficial for Cedar Rapids Prairie, although it's not a large part of their offense. You know, it's cold enough out there, and Deontay Fliss has been on the sideline long enough. You know, he's not warmed up at all, not got into the flow of things, so it's tough for him to get out there and try to throw passes.
Really, neither one of these teams are built to score really quickly unless they can bust open some running plays.
Rely on the long play, long run play,
which they're very capable of. Pearson again.
And Prairie just keying, you know, everybody's doing their assignment, getting into the gap. They need 2 defensive linemen, linebackers filling in the other gap, and getting a shoulder pad on the running back no matter who's got the football. Unbalanced to the right side. This is when they use that inside counter play to the left. See if they don't do it here. Did,
and got stopped by Avery Garrett.
They read it beautifully. They've
and now
seen
4th down.
I mean, that's perfect preparation coming in. They've showed them the plays that Prairie had been so successful on. You'll see Garrett right there. He followed the pulling left guard, left tackle, and just let Betters get the handoff, or Longwell, excuse me, and brought him down.
And Prairie, after a loss of 2, will have to go for it.
So they shift into the same alignment. Now imagine they'll go to the right side with a direct snap to Pearson.
And there it is. And he gets the first down and more into Kennedy Cougar territory.
I think Prairie's going to have to pick up the pace here a little bit, Rob. They need to get back to that huddle, get a play called, and get up there and run it. They can't take the customary 20 to 25 seconds on every play.
First down, Prairie on the Cougar 48-yard line.
Lecco has plenty of time, lets her fly deep, and it's picked off. A heck of a grab over the shoulder by Mitchell Shares, the best defensive back that the Cougars have.
Isn't that amazing?
It was like he was the intended receiver.
Exactly. He was in front of the receiver running downfield all the way into the end zone. Lecco, you know, let one go on at least a nice pass. It just happened to end up in the wrong colored jersey. The hands of the wrong colored jersey. You see, and Cher's doing a great job of being in front of Longwell. Perfectly played. You can't ask for anything, any better defense than what Kennedy played right there.
Perfect position.
Yeah, keep your eyes on. You got to, you know, you have an assignment. You got a receiver. You're playing man-to-man, and he was playing, you know, deep zone, and all you have to do is stay as deep as the deepest receiver and run with him. He was going to run by you. Run with him and ahead of him.
And according to the Kennedy stat sheet, hard to believe, Jerry, but that's their first interception of the season.
They wanted to wait. They wanted to wait till the, you know, this part of the season to start adding in stats to their defensive repertoire.
It was a big one. It'll be the Cougars with the football when we come back. Mitchell Shares makes a huge defensive play, and the Cougars right back to the ground game.
Going to keep the ball on the ground, going to move the chains, eat up a lot of clock. That's exactly what the operation is right at this point.
And they're pretty good at it. Ray carries on first down. Kingston Stadium, Prairie Hawks, and the Kennedy Cougars. Rob Brooks along with Jerry Koala. Cougars in command. Ray. And he'll be taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Fetters. He's got a bunch of tackles tonight.
Well, that's what Prairie's going to have to do. They can't allow a first down here by Cedar Rapids Kennedy. Now I was going to say they got to start creating turnovers into Kennedy territory. They got to start tackling the football, and if Kennedy's going to pass the ball, they need to come up with an interception. They just can't allow any penetration, any movement by this Kennedy offense. And right now, it's so far so good for Prairie.
Not sure the Cougars have seen 3rd and 8 tonight. White across the middle. And a big play to Drake Kinney.
Max White pass complete to number 88, Drake Kinney.
And a flag
There's a penalty flag on the play.
also inside the 40-yard line. 38-yard pass play.
It's going to be a hold downfield, I think.
Holding offense. It is a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Result of the play will still be first down.
They'll still have possession.
Easily a first down.
Yeah, deep into Prairie territory, too.
Drake Kinney, his 5th reception of the year.
Watch him turn around. After he catches the ball, he looks around, and there's nobody around him. He can't believe he's so wide open. Watch him look. He'll turn around. Oh, my gosh. Look at, I got room. He's looking to get tackled. He'd act like a hurdler, like you're getting over those hurdles, pick up those knees and put them down.
Longwell makes the stop. Key 3rd down conversion for Cedar Rapids Kennedy. White. Good job just to dive forward for a couple of yards and stays in bounds.
He eats up a few extra seconds on the clock. Well, that's a nice play by Nick Fetters out there on that outside. He just fought off the block. I say that was Fetters. He fought off the block of DeMarcus Ray, just threw him out of the way.
No, he's been terrific tonight for the Prairie defense.
Come up with some plays. Again, so the clock's going to run. They're going to lose valuable time as Cedar Rapids Prairie. They can't create some kind of an opportunity.
Let's go.
And Ray right up the middle again, and that will most likely move the chains again. And just a terrific surge by that offensive line.
No doubt, straightforward. Nothing fancy. DeMarcus Ray running right behind it and fast. He's hitting the hole quickly. And he's through it past the linebackers who are already being blocked as the defensive lineman for Cedar Rapids Prairie. Running for first downs.
About 17 first downs for the Cougars.
I can believe it. Nice game plan. They've executed it well. They've prepared so very well for this game, you can tell.
Fullback right up the middle. Smash mouth football with Colin Flanagan.
That's just a straight dive play. I didn't see anybody pulling, but if not, if anything else, it was a trap play. But nevertheless, it's just a reverse pivot by Max. Yeah, it was a trap play from left to right. Kelso once again.
33-yard line.
His name's been called a lot from that offensive line. Flanagan got to run. We haven't seen him run the football at all tonight, except for right there, neither at Prairie. And he picks up some nice yards.
Up of 6. Wait. He stood up at the line of scrimmage. Maybe Fetters with the stop, and a penalty comes out.
Hey, get back in the huddle! Get the huddle!
After the play, dead ball, personal foul, defense, 15 yards, first down.
Gonna hawk down. That is Nick Fetters. He's been in a ton of plays tonight.
All over the field. I see Nick Pearson's in there playing linebacker now at this point. He hasn't played defense all year.
And another penalty marker just thrown.
It's Mark Bliss out there. Getting into the ear of the referee.
Didn't like something. This is gonna mount up here.
Conduct. White. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Well, I think what he was talking about was it was just extended contact by the players. They were locked onto each other, I think is what he was trying to say. So the official turns it into a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. But nevertheless, they have to live with the call.
So now the ball inside the 10 for the Cougars. White. Pushed out of bounds just outside the 5.
Max White, the ball carrier. Out of bounds at the 6-yard line.
A simple quarterback sweep. You just see him grab it and running. Just playing keep away from the defenders.
Hasn't been any faking, any play action. He has just been taken off, doing the job, as has DeMarcus Ray.
A good 1-2 punch here tonight.
Very good.
Two of them.
DeMarcus Ray, the ball carrier.
Between the two of them coming into tonight, and it's more than that, but over 1,500 yards combined.
Third down.
Max up to 220 yards rushing on 28 carries.
And you remember, Tujer, this is just the 7th ball game of the year for Kennedy.
Definitely been a different year all the way around.
Cougars making the most of it. White to the 3.
Max White, the ball carrier. The penalty flag on the play.
Another late penalty.
Now I think it's time for coaches to step in and start communicating with the players, their own players.
Get in there.
No retaliation, just play the game strongly. Especially, you know, with Kennedy, because they've dominated this game.
Unsportsmanlike offense after the play will be a result of the 4th down.
So this one will go against the Cougars. Brian White. That's an explanation. Kyle Knock, offensive coordinator, started the season in the press box calling the plays, and has since moved down on the sideline. Gave up only 17 points to Senior last week. 14 so far here tonight. And it's a Liam Way field goal attempt on 4th and long. A 34-yard attempt.
What they've done to that Prairie offense is, number one, not allowed too many big plays. They've had a couple, but not many. But they've kept that offense off the field, and that's how Prairie scores a lot of its points and wins their games. Is they maintain their offense on the field, get into a rhythm. Kennedy's never allowed that to happen because they've gotten their own offense, had it on the field, and have scored on nearly every possession.
Well, that was one of the keys for Kennedy, their success tonight. Eliminate big plays and don't turn the football over. And this defense has at times been susceptible to big plays. Plenty of leg and right through. Liam Way, his first field goal attempt of the year.
Could have come at a better time than right now. You never know when you're going to need that. That's going to be logged in the back of Brian White's mind as they get deeper into play. As this game, if they end up winning this game, wherever they play next week, you get into the deeper part of the game, you need that field goal. Your kicker at least has range of 34, and by the looks of it, 44 would have been
more than that.
Yes.
Only missed 2 extra points all season. Time-consuming drive. And still, Jerry Kennedy has scored on every single possession tonight.
11 plays, 63 yards.
Yeah, I'm not questioning that. I'm just saying. I just don't want
34-yard field goal. They've done a excellent job, not just a nice job. We got to credit Kennedy for the preparation they put in and the execution from tonight. Play 4 quarters, focus on nothing but football tonight against Cedar Rapids Prairie, because they knew they were going to have to play a really good game to beat a really good Cedar Rapids Prairie team, and thus far have done that.
And remember, Prairie on its first drive, from 3 plays, got a big touchdown run by Pearson. Cougars settled down, got a terrific stop on the next series, and did not look back. Forsland, another return out past the 30-yard line. Michael Bryant on the stop for Kennedy.
A little extracurricular activities going on.
17, reverse pass.
This little screen pass to Longwell. Stays on his feet and fights for yardage just shy of the 40-yard line.
Just got to go on the line of scrimmage. Call the plays at the line of scrimmage. Move the change that way. Just fast break football.
Could have been a 2-minute drill the rest of the way. See if we can make some noise. There was a catch by Elijah Ward that gets the ball into Cougar territory. So 2 good plays for the Prairie Hawks. Chris, who's completed over 50 passes this year, does it again to Ward. That's his 19th catch of the year. And that will close out the 3rd quarter. We'll head to the 4th. A terrific 3rd quarter for the Cougars, on top 38-14. Rob Brooks and Jerry Koala back at Kingston Stadium for the last time this year.
Just glad to be able to get up here in the year that we've been having, where we've had to schedule around and protect ourselves.
Well, and the key thing is it's been great for the kids. Maybe looked at one time that might not be any type of football season, but have been able to get out there and play, and a terrific adjustment and catch made by Forsland, who's been very good on special teams. That's his first grab tonight.
Yeah, threw it behind him, and he had to turn to catch it. Watch him turn to catch it in the hands. First down for the Prairie Hawks.
Just his third reception of the year.
You can see that Prairie's gone.
Full start, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Abandon the running game, at least for now, because runs aren't going to do them any good unless they can score on long runs on first play of every possession.
But they've got the weapons.
3.5 possessions away.
Flecko now in the slot on the right side. And pass intended for him. Just couldn't quite come up with it. Stepped up in the pocket and almost got 6 on the board.
Yeah, got flushed from the pocket a little bit to the right. And Flecko, of course, had double coverage on him. Max White is in there now playing that nickel back for pass coverage defense.
This under pressure goes deep and almost picked off in the end zone. That time was Brady Lovell. His free safety position.
They're not going to let Elijah Ward get open deep like that. They've got him covered under, and they've got him covered over the top. Deontay's going to have to try to look to the wide side of the field. Now that's where they've sent the strength of their spread formation.
That time, Fliss probably had to get rid of that ball before he wanted to. Felt the pressure coming from the backside. Set up the screen, and it is incomplete. Terrific defense by Packabir.
He read it beautifully. You know, it's a good call because you know that Kennedy's really going to come after your quarterback, but you know, you let the defensive lineman come in. The linebacker's got to look for running back receivers, and there it comes. You see Packabir getting right out there onto Longwell. Good timing.
Or did he ever time that perfectly? So now 4th and 15. Timeout just before snap clock went to 0. First timeout taken in the second half by Prairie. The Iowa High School Athletic Association certainly needs your help. And we've talked about this a couple of times this year to add registered sports officials this school year. Officials are needed at all levels in all Iowa High School Athletic Association sanctioned sports. Officiating allows you to stay close to the action while serving as a community leader. And in Iowa, high school and junior high games can't take place without officials. Visit www.iahsaa.org/officials or highschoolofficials.com for more information and help the Iowa High School Athletic Association add one today.
I'll support that, Rob. Don't be afraid to become an official in any sport. It's a very rewarding industry to be a part of.
Many that get into it really love, especially the Friday nights in football. And a little miscommunication there. Ward was at the 5-yard line. The ball went deep, and the Cougars will take over.
They needed 15 yards for a first down. That's what they should have went for to maintain possession, because Kennedy's not going to give him anything deep. And Deontay threw it deep into the end zone beyond even 2 Cougar defenders who were back there that deep, and Elijah wasn't anywhere close to it. Just learning experience, between 2 juniors, who are going to excel at football again, come next year.
This looks on. Well, the game plan pretty simple here. But White. It's out of bounds after the first down. And we've got a Prairie Hawk cramping back at the 27-yard line. Appears that way.
Well, there's no doubt again that Kennedy going to run the football, and they're going to use Max White if DeMarcus Ray's not in there. And they've been very successful at it tonight. Really having fun.
Yeah, and White, boy, his yardage moving up the charts.
Well, unofficially, Rob got him for 30 carries. And that last 19-yarder comes out to 240 yards. Unofficial.
He's comfortably in second place all-time in career rushing yards.
Well, he's going to get another crack at it.
Yes,
Come next week, whoever they play, it's either going to be Ankeny Centennial or Southeast Polk. They play like this, against either of those teams, I would assume they'll give themselves a chance, and they may have to even play better.
2 terrific football teams. Southeast Polk.
Well,
one of the favorites to win it all.
You talked about, Kennedy's determination coming into this game, needing to win this game, playing their best at the end of the year. That's exactly what they're doing. Oh, it's Baxter Bohr.
Yep.
Got twisted up in there.
So another first down run by number 5. Max looking for more, much more. Gets to the 40. Brought down by Nick Fetters.
Off that right side, they just continue to throw blocks for him.
He does a terrific job, too, of securing the football.
He's strong. He's got a great grip on that football. Again, he's the prototype football athlete.
This time trapped back behind the line of scrimmage. Moses Each, the first one to get to Max White.
They've done a nice job on Moses tonight, blocking him. As you get a look at Moses right there, the junior. He's been blocked by Colby all night long. Connor's done a nice job on him.
Ray puts it on the ground, but then it's picked up. And racing toward the end zone is Connor Colby. 6 more on the board. He was going to get into the end zone one way tonight.
I don't think anybody ever would have scripted out something like that.
The fans and the Kennedy bench loving it as well. 37 yards.
So it's dropped at about the 37. There it is. Colby picks it up about the 38.
How about this speed?
Got some wheels on him. So sure that if Kirk Ferentz sees that young man running that ball like that, it might turn him into a fullback.
No, I think he'll stay where he's playing. He may beg for that, however. Extra point is good.
Well, Rob, you know when it's going well for you tonight in any kind of a game, but like a game like tonight, when your running back drops the football after a 7-yard gain, offensive lineman just kind of following the play.
And it comes right to you.
Rolls right to him. Gotta love it. He knew what to do with it. That was the best thing about it, you know?
Extra point
Well,
is good.
the reason we say he was going to get into the end zone one way or the other, he had an opportunity. He carried the ball inside of the 5-yard line. Just couldn't quite get in, got stopped at the 1.
I wondered if Brian White just didn't feel bad about giving him that football on the 1-yard line since he had gotten it down there close enough on a couple of previous plays. It willed him a fumble recovery and a run for score.
Offensive linemen love something like that happens. That happened very often.
Almost a rarity.
He's going to Iowa. He's a big time player.
Tyler Colby, senior tackle, 6'6", 315.
He's got wheels of a fullback out there on the 40 in about 5'1" or 5.1 seconds. Hey, get into that fitness and conditioning program at the University of Iowa. Boy, they'll turn into a nice athlete. They might even make him a defensive lineman out of him.
Ward back deep. Another penalty on Prairie, so Way will be kicking from the Prairie 45. Probably trying to make it through the uprights.
I think he was shooting for it. He's hooked it a little bit left.
But Jerry, not necessarily surprised that Kennedy going to win this game, but didn't think it would be 45-14 with 9:31 left to go in the fourth.
It's been a perfect night for Cedar Rapids Kennedy, especially offensively, taking care of the defensive side of things by scoring on every possession. You know, it takes a lot of pressure off your defense. They can loosen up a little bit.
Fliss, junior quarterback. Completes a short pass to Vlecko. Davis with the stop. Kennedy linebacker. Fires across the middle, and it is caught. Alex White. They're going to rule it incomplete.
Showing a little bit behind him, so as he was trying to catch football, he slipped and fell. You see Deontay get flushed from the pocket. He'll roll to his left, but does a nice job to look downfield. I mean, the top of his hand was on the ball as it was on the ground.
This one's caught out to midfield. Go right back to Alex White.
Very in a hurry-up offense here, as they need to be.
13, Alex White. Up by number 6, Zane Hill.
Right with 4 receptions coming into tonight's action. Dangerous pass, but White able to get it. Couple extra yards and gets out of bounds.
The defensive back looked for an interception. He may have had him because I think he was looking to make the hit on White out there to the left side. Those are dangerous passes, especially if the defender breaks on it. Sees it coming and breaks on it.
Was flushed and then just lofts it up, and almost a spectacular catch made by Ward, but broken up by Mitchell Shares.
Yeah, the timing was right for Shares to get in there, knock it away. Eli got his hands on it, got his hands all around it. He was hauling it in, and Shares comes in and pokes it away. Yeah, I'd say with the lays one out there nicely, you'll see Eli get it, and then Shares reaches up and knocks it out.
Timed it perfectly. Across the middle, incomplete. Pocket broke down, and that'll bring up 4th and 6.
He threw that a little bit sooner than he wanted to, but it threw it well in front of Eli Ward, who's just running the post pattern.
Hawks have not scored in the second half. They're all Cougars. Fliss. And incomplete.
It's one of those nights for Cedar Rapids Prairie. Working so well for Kennedy. Prairie just couldn't find any momentum, get any spark. Tough way to end their season.
Good football team.
They're going to be better in the coming future. You know, they're going to miss Nick Pearson. They'll have to certainly try to find a replacement, you know, for him in that backfield. But they've got Fliss back. They've got half that offensive line, half that defensive line. They'll lose their linebackers except McGuire Jones. You know, they'll reload.
Back to Ray. Nice tackle in there by Clayton Scott.
He's doing a nice job, isn't he? He is knifed in there.
Good football player.
He makes great tackles.
Ray's got to be approaching 100 yards tonight as well.
Is that my cue?
Yeah.
See if I can't track down some yardage for that young man.
Well, tack on a few more here. Gets out to the 45, and this is certainly what the Cougars want to do. Just pound away and watch that clock continue to run. The veteran quarterback has the football savvy of a Max White, of course, the coach's son. He's all that play clock. Ray again, and that'll be a big first down to keep this drive going for the Cougars.
Well, that's a play out of the old Prairie book. Direct snap right to DeMarcus Ray as he's standing next to Max White at the backfield.
Clayton Scott in on another stop. So Shares comes in to play a little offense. Pumped up Cougar sideline too.
Deserve it. It ought to be.
Ray. As you're doing some figuring over there, I'm going to say that he's now over 100 yards.
Well, I can't figure too much here. I got to keep track of him carrying the football here, so I got to.
So what's that, 21 yards?
Got double and triple duty tonight. White time will keep it. Get to the 30, about a yard shy. First down.
Max unofficially at 32 carries, 259 yards. He had over 200 yards when they played earlier this year too, scored 3 touchdowns in that come from behind 1-point win overtime.
And turnovers for the Cougars. First game, and they have played clean football. Put on the ground, it turned into 6 points. Ray. And that should be good enough for a first down.
Battled hard for that 1 yard. See Kelso getting up off the ground. Gimpley, they're going to get him out of there. Kelso's had a nice game. You see him.
Yes, he has.
Off there. He's done a great job pulling from that left guard position, leading either Max or DeMarcus Ray off that right side.
Big part of that offensive line for the Cougars. Ray stays in bounds and then takes a pretty good lick at the 15-yard line, but hops right up.
His ankles on the turf.
Just a sweep action to the left side. Great blocking, seal blocking. Finds the gap, had the sideline to contend with. And
McGuire Jones came in.
Drilled by McGuire.
Good clean hit.
And after he picks up 14 yards.
Another chunk play for the Cougars on the ground. Play again.
I think they'd rather run out the clock as opposed to scoring here, but they just got to continue to run plays. It's too early, to be down in the, taking a knee. You can get another first down, then I think probably that's what will happen if they do get the first down.
Let's go, Ted. 120. 120.
Ray right up the middle, bouncing off a couple of white jerseys and gets to the 5. And that can be right at the first down marker again.
Prairie acted like that ball popped loose somehow or other. You'll see it right up the middle. He's still got it. Oh, he's spinning is what he's doing. Yeah, Nick Pearson trying to strip it away from him.
Yep. Under 3. Ray again. This time I don't think he got back to the line of scrimmage. Good penetration by Scott and Jones. 2 outstanding linebackers.
Ryan White getting his backup quarterback in there. Brendan Rader, 6'4".
I think the starting quarterback did enough tonight, didn't he?
Yeah, he supplied a lot of thrills and productivity for this football team, as he has for 3 years, but especially this year.
Ray cuts it up and backs his way to about the 6.
Turn it over.
It'll be just short. So the Prairie Hawk offense back on the field. 2:01 left to go. Cougars a little over 2 minutes away from moving on to the quarterfinals. First and 10 for Prairie. Pearson will pick up about 14 yards out to the 20. The free safety Brody Lovell senior with the stop. Pearson out to the 30 as he wraps up an outstanding high school football career.
And he will make a nice college football player. I think he's also going to wrestle in college.
Longwell. Good enough for the first down. Prairie will close out at 5-3. Lost their first 2 games of the season, then put together a 5-game winning streak. Pearson into Cougar territory. Bartles, the tackle.
First down Prairie on the Kennedy 40.
So Pearson adding to his numbers, well over 1,000 yards this year. Get it again. Jake Vander Sanden.
Pearson, the ball carrier, stopped by number 7, Jake Vander Sanden.
So Brian White is no stranger to moving on in the playoffs. Pearson. For first down to the 36.
Stopped by number 6, Zane Hill.
That'll be the last play of the game. The Kennedy Cougars.
Final score for tonight's game, Kennedy Cougars.
What a 4-quarter football game
14.
they put together, and Brian White and the Kennedy Cougars move on to the quarterfinals with a 45-14 victory over Prairie. Started the season with a victory over the Hawks. Get one tonight. We'll be back to wrap things up from Kingston after the break. High school football on Mediacom MC22 is brought to you by McGrath Family of Dealerships, 5 Seasons Tire, the Tom Riley Law Firm, Collins Community Credit Union, Heartland Hearing Center, and by Extreme, powered by Mediacom. Here's the participation trophy for Cedar Rapids Prairie Hawks. And the Kennedy Cougars, of course, will move on to the quarterfinals. Take on either Ankeny Centennial or Southeast Polk as they race to the student section.
Well-deserved victory here tonight for them. They prepared well. They knew what kind of talent they had, and they knew what kind of opponent Cedar Rapids Prairie is coming into this football game, and they took them down.
Excited bunch of Kennedy Cougar football players came out ready to play, and boy did they for 4 quarters. Results in a 45-14 victory, moving on to the quarterfinals. For our entire MC22 crew, broadcast partner Jerry Koala, I'm Rob Brooks. Thanks so much for watching, and good night from Kingston Stadium.
We